Where did your passion come from for tattoos, and what got you started in this industry?
So I think, being from Charleston, born and raised here on the Smile Island before it got like really chaotic, you didn't see tattoos a lot because it was illegal in South Carolina. I believe up until like 2006, we were the last state to like legalize, tattooing in studios and, places to get them. So there was underground tattooing and a lot of that, but you didn't see it a lot. Like you kind of had to be in a certain group. I grew up surfing folly and, hung out with like skaters and surfers and kind of the punk crowd growing up younger. And so I did have connections early on to get tattooed, but I think, I guess you're asking like what inspired me to begin with that was, I guess, seeing it was like when I saw a tattoo, I was very intrigued like with that. Like it didn't matter what the imagery was, but I would see it and I was drawn to it immediately. And then, obviously imagery and stuff like skateboard decks, that came along, like, cause they were always like really cool stuff. Just early, I was just drawn by the images that would be, on, people that you wouldn't normally have, coming through Charleston back then. It wasn't very a touristy place. So you'd have, just random people would come through my life and I'd see tattoos. And it usually was encompassed by people that were like, they had they were kind of tougher, that kind of tougher biker crowd or whatnot. And I was drawn to that as well, early on. Like they just, something about that, that vibe or that presence that they put out and that energy, it seemed strong and it seemed solid, and it's something that I wanted to be part of like early on. So as far as like, getting tattooed, I started getting tattooed when I was 14 years old. Got as soon as I could find somebody to tattoo me that seemed legit at the time, which we call scratchers now. He was working out of a shed somewhere in Mount Pleasant, and I remember his name. I'm not going to drop it now, but he was a cool guy, and he immediately, everything about that process, man, I was so intrigued. It was like I felt like a sponge. Like he probably couldn't have took in more information at one time, but not just the sights, the smells, but like how he was making the stencil and the set. It was just so intriguing, man. It was like I try to tell people when my clients ask me that, I guess the feeling that it gave me would be similar to like, it being around Christmas time, like a child with Christmas. Like it was that exciting. So it was definitely impressionable, it stayed with me. So that forced me to kind of just keep getting tattooed, and really had no plans to do tattooing because I thought it was like magical to me. I was like, there's no way I can do that. That was like right off the rip. I can't do that. I've been looking for like the next best artist to tattoo me. And, through that journey and being tattooed, I got linked up with some pretty talented folks over the years. And I've, got pretty much, covered up by, people that I looked up to and I still do in this industry. And I've been grateful to have those guys kind of, set the foundation for me as far as like how I even approach things now and have like the etiquette and the respect for it, because that's a lot of stuff that's lost in this business now that I believe. And it's kind of important for me, if I can give anything back to tattooing, it's just try to help people understand there's a lot more to this than just getting a tattoo. Getting a machine on Amazon and tattooing your friend is super disrespectful for everybody that came before, even myself. So I feel like I have that obligation.
Do you remember the first person you gave a tattoo to, and what was that experience like?
Yeah, actually I do. So I got into tattooing. A buddy of mine moved here from Chicago. His name's Johnny, and Johnny Sandler's one of my best friends. And if it weren't for him, I wouldn't be where I'm at for sure. Because I approached Johnny and asked him for an apprenticeship, and like very nervously like to ask for that. And he had a shop about an hour away from James Island. And he not only allowed me to do my apprenticeship at his studio, but he also worked with me on my hours, because at the time I had my daughters were young and I had a schedule with them, and I had a day job obviously to support my family. And with tattooing, when you get into it, you don't get paid to do an apprenticeship. You don't make anything. That's not. A lot of people pay for it. So he let me work in the evenings, and it really helped out with my schedule. So sometimes I'd work between 7 and 2 a.m. about an hour away with the drive, and I was so humbled to do that, because he was giving me like my shot at something that I thought was never possible. So the first person I tattooed was it was this girl Trish, and I can't remember Trish's last name, I can remember her voice though, because she would always come into the shop and she'd be like, "Hey, you guys," and it was just like this sound that she would make. So it's funny that I could vividly remember that. But Trish like lived right down the street from the studio, and I think I met her at the gas station. Same thing. "Hey, I like your tattoos. You know, similar to you, man." You're like, "Hey," you know. So that's how. And then so I brought her in, and I did a it was a tribal design, all black with a rose. Whew, man, that was a big one to bite off, you know, and you know, being my first tattoo, and thank God Johnny was there to kind of help me, put me through my paces, man. So that was, but she ended up coming back probably every 2 weeks, I'd say, even then, and she would, you know, pick really cool things and let me you know, work with her, man. And it was a really good experience. So Trish, that was the first you know, actual tattoo I did on somebody, and it was at the Higher Ground in Latson, or off College Park. I think that's Latson. So yeah, so that was it, man.
That's really cool. I feel like you never forget kind of your first gig, right?
Dude, you won't forget that. You talk about a shaky, it's like, it was crazy. It's like, and I think that's part of it too. You kind of get like, when I got done with that, and every tattoo therefore, man, you get like a little like jolt, like you get like, you know, it's a rush. It's intense. I think that's why, you know, it's fun for us to do them, and we enjoy it. And I feel like if you ever lose that feeling in this, and that says a lot. Maybe you're not in the right thing, because I mean, even to this day, I've read thousands of tattoos, you know, and I still get, you know, like giddy when I get done. You know, I still feel good. It makes me feel good to do what I do. Like, that's why I enjoy tattooing. You know, so. I mean, it's really a blessing that I get to do this as a job. It really is. Yeah. So. Very thankful. Yeah, no,
that's amazing. I know when we first met, and before you opened up the studio, you know, you told me about the laws in South Carolina, how strict that was. You know, how does it feel to be, you know, to own like the first tattoo parlor on James Island?
Yeah, like, you know, like I said, it's great. The law, you know, the laws are what they are, and this building itself got grandfathered in 2013, and then the studio before was a great studio, and you know, just by luck I was able to, you know, get this location a couple years ago now, and it's, you know, like I said, it's amazing for me, particularly because I could see my street sign from my front porch that I grew up on. And when I was a child, this was the first memory of what this building was. It was called Maxed Out Surf Shop. So, you know, being a surfer, local James Island, this used to be like a place, even back then, this place, when I would come into a surf shop, it would make me feel that way too, like tattooing, because I love surfing. So I remember coming in here very young, and, you know, the guys were like, "Don't touch the boards," you know, and like, great dudes. But anyway, so to fast forward and to have this as a, you know, my studio, but I can remember what it was way back when, that was still tied into the culture that I still represent in my hometown, man. It's huge. I don't even have words for what this is for me, man, you know? So, and that's the truth. I really don't.
Full circle moment.
Absolutely, man. Yeah, for sure. Yeah, for sure.
That's amazing, man. You know, I interview a lot of, you know, a couple entrepreneurs and small business owners, and, you know, there's certain things that you can't really go to school for. And I'm always curious about like this type of industry. Like, if someone wants to get into tattoo, like, do they go to like a trade school, or is it mostly just like apprenticeship?
So nowadays there are places that, I mean, real tattooers, I would believe, frown upon, like schools. Like, this isn't supposed to be like a corporate thing, similar to like, I believe the way I felt and how like I had to go through all the steps to get where I was, where it was like, I don't have a shot at this. It's the disbelief that you can't even do it that I believe led me to do it. So it's like, if you're like, I can do that, and this is easy for me, let me go, you know, pay $20,000 and do a program, because they do offer that, and that's about how much it is to get a license. But that doesn't teach you how to be a tattooer. It doesn't teach you anything about the respect of tattoo. And the whole principle of having a mentor and an apprenticeship is, and that's just one part of it. I mean, you should be well into like being tattooed by other people before you even approach anything like that. I mean, just because you draw and you like tattooing doesn't necessarily make you, you know, hey, this doesn't make you a tattooer. You know, it's really hard. Our industry is probably one of the last industries that I believe are like that. You know, everything else has been like, you know, like it's corporate now. Like, you know, you want to be a welder, yeah, it's a skilled trade, same thing. You go to school, you weld, now you weld, you know, truck driver, same thing. And this is similar. That's what tattooing is. This is a skilled trade, but it was meant to be passed down from, you know, mentor to student, and then so forth. So the school is super against that, and not even for my own personal sake, just for tattooing's sake, because it's like, just because you can transfer the stencil on the skin doesn't teach you how to be a tattooer in the aspect of like with your client, and knowing all the ins and outs. You can't teach it in school. It takes years. It takes years of even being just tattooed. So the people that go in, they're like, oh, I got a couple tattoos, I will be a tattooer. I scratch my head to that. I don't understand, like, why? Because you see an opportunity to make money. Like, this isn't about money. Never tattooing truly, because again, I had a job, I had a family. I never got into tattooing for money. So that's a hard thing for me to kind of just say, oh, I'm gonna go do something because I could see it being lucrative, when you're doing it a disjustice, and something sacred to me deserves more respect, you know. So I'm big on that for sure. So yeah, they do schools, but the best way to do, people hit me up all the time, hey, you guys hiring an apprentice or blah, no, you know, and the reason, not really, that's not how you do it, you know. You need to start being tattooed, hang around the shop, know some people, show interest, start maybe with counter position for a while, you know, like, hey, I work with counter for 2 years at a shop, and in the middle of that I got heavily tattooed, I really love this, then maybe take a shot. Gotcha. You know what I'm trying to say? And then by taking a shot, that means you're signing up to make zero money and basically be taught from the very beginning of everything. It has nothing to do with tattooing in the beginning. So like, you know, line drawings, painting, all the flash that you see on my studio walls. This is like how we prep to even begin that process to become a tattooer. So, and you know, that's the thing. And nowadays, a lot of that's out the window. You know, everybody's just like, well, I see it on YouTube. I can do this, I can buy this. It's, you know, it's really tough to kind of like keep that sacredness to something that's been so exploited at this point, you know. So
keep the traditions.
Yeah, so all I can do is keep it here, you know, from what I got. I'm gonna hold it down as long as I can with that, you know, the best I can. And it's tough, you know. Some people you give that kind of knowledge to, and you know, sometimes they may not respect it the same, and you know, you live and learn. But you know, do the best I can to at least, you know, if I let this be carried on by somebody else, make sure that they respect it in the same manner, you know. But yes, to answer your question, there are schools. Shouldn't do that. There is a correct way, and you should really put your time and effort in if you really want to pursue this. Yeah. So that's a short answer.
Yeah, no, that makes a lot of sense, and I think that's great advice for anybody that's trying to get into this field as well. Sure. You know, let's switch over to like from the business side. Mm-hmm. What do you think is like the most challenging thing about your role as a you know, tattoo parlor owner?
Where do you start, right? It's business. So I think my thing, I guess the most challenging part I could say, it would just be trying to maintain the relationships with the clients, you know, like to let because I'm very personal, you know, like I grew up with family business background and stuff like that, and you know, being from here, we're very like, you know, handshakes and smiles, and you know, very very nice, and want to help people, you know. So like I've kind of been able to give that to my clients here in tattooing, which that's a little different than back in the 90s when you got tattooed. You kind of got yelled at as soon as you walked in. So I think in running a business with social media and like Google and like review process and all that stuff is very hard and challenging for a business owner, because those are like outside elements. Like I remember, you know, I've dealt with people, they drove by, called because there was a wait, and left a review that was negative. It's, you know, how do you compete? So, you know, I'm dealing with computers, I'm dealing with things that are just like outside of my, and if you come in here, I'm going to give you the same best service that I can provide the next you know, but it's like, it's just really hard. So I feel like that's my hardest challenge, being a business owner, like straight, like that's the hardest thing. I mean, everything else I feel like, you know, I'm blessed to have good artists working with me, and like I have you know, I've got everything else pretty much nailed down. I feel like, you know, but that's something that it could be, I can have somebody come in here today and just have having a bad day and it becomes my problem that I'm going to spend 2 weeks trying to solve.
Right.
It had nothing to do with tattooing. So that's I think in my business that's what's hard, you know. So I can imagine in anybody's really in this day and time. So,
you know, as a tattoo artist, I know everyone has their own style and philosophy. What's kind of like your style?
So primarily working in a street shop most of my career. I mean, I had to pretty much be open to do everything. We start off doing, you know, traditional tattooing because it's the fundamentals and has everything we need to, you know, basically create everything else in tattooing. So my style I consider now, I mean, I am a street shop tattooer, so I do everything from fine line, which is, you know, its own thing, to, you know, bold American traditional. I don't do necessarily like portrait style or color realism or photorealism or anything like that. I do versions of that, which would be like more fine line black and gray. However, my primary styles I would consider that to make the masses happy, fine line for sure, and then to make myself and other tattoo collectors happy would be American traditional. So yeah, for sure.
That's really cool, and obviously I love mine. So
Exactly.
that's awesome, man. You know, up to this point, you guys been open for like 4 years now. 5 years coming up, or what?
No.
Not even, right?
No, it's 3. About
3 years. Once
Yep.
2025 cross.
Yep.
That's amazing. You know, what are you most proud of right now, man? Up to this point.
Man, just keeping those clients happy, man. Like, you know, I'm, you know, I try not to look at any pings when they come up from Google, but you know, if you know, you could probably go on there and take a look for yourself. A lot of that when you know, somebody has read those to me and stuff, because I'm literally like, I can't look, you know. That's very humbling to me. It seems like that, you know, I'm doing that part right. You know, I'm able to provide the client with a good, you know, tattoo is going to last forever, that they're happy to and proud of, and to the point to where they, you know, they leave reviews about that, and that's huge to me, you know. So it's like bringing back to that point earlier about those reviews. There's two sides to it, you know, good and bad. So, but yes, making my clients happy to this point and hearing the feedback that I'm getting from them, seeing all the smiles, you know, people coming and going, and also seeing it from my tattooers that I have here as well. We're all able to create the same type of environment that I, you know, basically started and created at first, and it's been able to like funnel through us all, so you get the same experience no matter really who you're getting tattooed by here at my studio. So and that makes me proud as well, because that takes time. You know, everybody has different personalities and different stuff, so to be able to like kind of, you know, mold that in a way to where it's like comfortable for everybody to be that way without forcing it. You know, it's actually natural and you get a great experience. That's huge for me too, because I've had people come and go and a lot of, you know, little bumps and ups and downs, and we're still growing. We're still young, man. So, you know, what's tomorrow? But yeah, making my clients happy and doing really fun tattoos and getting more of a draw of the type of tattoos that I like to do is huge for me. That's making me, you know, pretty happy, because it's taken a while. I had to, you know, go through all the masses of small stuff to large, you know, like trying to figure out like what the shop's more known for, you know. So I feel like we're getting that out there too. Like, oh, we can go these guys for pretty much anything now, you know, which is great. So kind of cover it all. So yeah, so that's things to be proud of for sure.
Yeah, no, that's amazing, man. You know, I know you tattoo so many people up to this point. I'm curious, man. Like, what are some reasons why people get a tattoo? Whether it's like an emotional thing or, you know, just for fun. Like, what are some things that you hear from your clients as to why they want a tattoo?
Yeah, so I think, I mean, the majority of them is just for fun. I feel like that's lately, you know, the meanings behind them have kind of come and gone. You know, I get some people that are just like really, really meaningful, that they have a particular style. A lot of it's just like the imagery. They're like, hey, I really was feeling this image. You know, you do get people. I have tattooed, so, you know, and you know, unfortunately for these folks, we're going through some really traumatic stuff. But we tattooed a few different instances that happened here on the island and Folly and stuff like that with tragedies in their families and stuff like that. So I've tattooed you know, the family members that are left behind by these tragic events, and obviously they're getting these things that are super meaningful for them, but we always kind of make like little jokes about tattoo therapy. It is a type of therapy in a way. Not only, we're gonna talk. I don't put earbuds in and just zone out. I mean, I'm gonna talk to you the whole time. I like communicating. I like, that's just who I am. So when you go through this stuff that these, folks have gone through, it's nice to go somewhere that's like, hey, if you want to talk about it, I'm open to, so we kind of let that out, let them vent a little bit. We're giving them something meaningful that's, lasting them for a lifetime to remember whatever, they were going through. So, yeah, so providing a type of therapy to people for sure is like a big part of, helping people get through stuff. And I see that a lot. So, so it's kind of across the board. It's not really a direct reason. I mean, somebody could come in a minute and like, buddy bet me to do this. I don't, and then you can have the next person be like, this has got, this is a name right off of a letter that somebody passed away, and I needed, so we take this script that they wrote and put it on in meaningful stuff. So, or you get some traditional stuff. It's like, hey, I really am digging that snake and rose. Let's do that. Cool. So, so it's across the board. So not one thing I can say. Bunch of different things.
Yeah, that's really cool, man. Where do you see yourself in the next 3 to 5 years? I know 2025 is coming, and I know big things are coming, but where do you see yourself in the next 3 to 5 years?
Yeah, man. Honestly, this time's flown by so fast. I feel like 3 to 5 would be like another blink. That's the truth. I'm getting older. I got my kids are getting older faster, and days are just flying by. I do work almost pretty much every day. So just kind of, it just seems like time is flying by. So as far as where I see myself, man, I mean, I really would like to just continue to keep on track of what I've got going on, we are, I do have more stations available. So maybe eventually adding some different artists, that would fit into what we have going on here is always that would be a plus eventually. Yeah, man, just kind of just cruising. I just want to kind of keep up the pace that I'm at. Not too overwhelmed with stuff. We're definitely very blessed. We stay steady. We're able to take walk-ins every day and appointments. So like that's cool. So as long as I don't have to like. Some shops aren't able to do that, because they're too booked up or too full or don't have enough hands on deck. And thankfully we are. We're open 7 days a week, so we have walk-in availability at least by one artist every day, and then we work on appointments. So. So I really would like to, if I can just maintain that where I'm at now at this almost 3-year mark and just keep that level going, maybe just grow a little bit more, man, that would be, I'm cool with that, and obviously just get better at myself, man. That's the thing with this is like, you never stop learning, you never stop growing, you never stop getting better. So it's like, as long as I have that ability to keep growing as well in my studio, then I think I'm doing the right thing. We're going the right direction. So yeah.
For sure, I love that. And like just to add on top of that, from a business owner standpoint, what are some qualities you think someone needs in your positions to be successful and build the business that you have built up to this far? I know me and you, we take fitness pretty seriously, and we go to same gym, but so I know that outside of this, you're driven by more than just running a business.
Sure.
So what are some qualities you think you have that have contributed to the success you have now?
Yeah, so definitely, like I said, just being driven in life in general. I mean, this is not, running any business isn't for the faint of heart. You're never off. It's 24/7. It's actually harder than just being an employee. There's many times where you just want to oh man, this is way too much. But that's the thing, like you said, I mean, how many times you lift and you say this is way too much, and then you do another set, you know what I'm saying? So it's like, that's how you grow. Same philosophy in business, I guess, in my life in general, is like you just press on, man, Yeah, I mean, so I don't know. I've always been like that in my life. I mean, you can call me hard-headed or whatever. Sometimes I've been told, but it's also, I feel like that's like determination, So I just, man, you gotta, and that's generalized. I mean, tattooing itself, like I said, I don't even, at my point in my career, to own a business wasn't even really the point. I'm doing the best I can as a business owner in the position that I've had opportunity to have. Okay, so But in general, to be in my position, I feel like what got me here, or even the ability to maintain it thus far, is to be the type of person I am that is like, humble, driven, respectful, caring, loyal, like those qualities that I believe that I've had, way early in life. That's just who I am. So, and I definitely think those contribute to helping be a good business in general. So if it was this or other businesses, and I've had other businesses that were the same success type thing. So, so whatever that is in me, I can't really pinpoint it exactly. It's a lot of heart, a lot of work, and don't give up. You know what I mean? Like just keep going. So that's that. Yeah.
I love it, man. And just kind of wrapping up, if there's someone out there that kind of want to follow your footsteps, what are some tips you can give him or her, if they want to become like a tattoo owner?
Yeah. So, like I said, man, I mean, as far as owning a business as a tattoo shop, I wouldn't even think about that. I mean, the reality is, like in this business, from what I've seen from other artists that have owned the right to have a tattoo studio, man, you're like 20, 30 years in just doing the tattoos. So as far as like maybe getting to the point or having a situation happen to you like me or whatever, and to be, in that same boat, I mean, you just, man, go into it for the right reasons. And if you got that and you got good intentions and you're not doing it for the wrong reasons, then maybe one day an opportunity presents itself and you'll be in the right place at the right time, and you're able to capitalize on that, but that's, I feel like with anything, man. So you gotta, but for tattooing specifically, like you need to find somebody to do an apprenticeship under, maybe after you've worked a counter at a, studio, after you've traveled around, got tattooed, and you've been around the industry long enough to make sure it's what you want. Start from there, and then it's going to be a long journey from there before you, I think, get to the position to even want to do this. Because like I said, I mean, the reality is there's many days that even as an owner, I wish I could just tattoo, because the last thing that I really do is get to tattoo. You know what I'm saying? Like I tattoo every day, but that's at the end of the day after I run the business. And then when I go home, I'm still running the business. So that's not tattooing. So I would, definitely better have your stuff together if you think you're going to just go tackle owning a shop, man. It's a lot. And that's with, I don't think that's just tattoo. I think that would be with any business, especially nowadays. It's very hard, man. It's very hard with the cost of everything. And, just in general, it's just very hard to maintain. So, so that's what I suggest. So start slow, man. Crawl before you walk,
100%.
Yeah, lots of learning, lots of information, ask questions and pay attention,
Right.
So
I love it, man. Hey, let's wrap it up with some rapid fun questions, man.
Yeah.
Your favorite tattoo and why?
That I have on myself or that I've given?
Given.
That I've given. Favorite tattoo that I've given. All right, this is complicated. So I will have to say my favorite tattoos that I've given, it's not just one, it would be on my daughters. I got to tattoo both my daughters, and that was I'm very proud of my daughters, so that was pretty cool. And also my wife, I mean, she's got quite a few tattoos by me, and they're very meaningful, either for our son or whatever. So tattooing my family members is all of those tattoos are very sentimental and special to me.
Yeah, that's awesome. What's the weirdest tattoo you ever given?
I won't say exactly what, but I've had some words that people would like to put on them that were very questionable, and we'll just leave it at that. I try to I can't talk people out of things, but definitely bring to light that maybe those decisions made early on in life you might regret later in life, and I just have to leave it at that. So yeah, definitely like some very questionable words. I think were some of the weirdest things I've like. Yeah.
That's cool, man. If people want to learn more about you and maybe get hired or just come in and get some artwork done, where can they find you? So
we have the edgetattooji.com is my website. We have pretty much all the links to social media, and our email stuff's on there too. So you could definitely reach out by email. I will say that I am at the shop pretty much every day. I tell everybody just to come through. I mean, you can call and we're going to tell you to come by. You can email me. I'm going to probably tell you to come by. So just pull up. If you're looking for me, just pull up. It's the easiest way. So yeah, and that's across the board. You're talking about anything. Just pull up.
He's not lying. I have to just pull up.
Just pull up, straight up. Just pull up. I'm here. Everybody's like, man, where you been? I've been in the same place every night, just tattooing, man. Yeah. If I'm tattooing, I'll be like, give me 1 second, I'll talk to you. Let's just pull up, man.
I love that,
Yeah.
man. Well, dude, that was great, man. I appreciate you doing this, man.
Sure.
Yes, sir. Until next time.
Yeah, man.
Yes, sir.
Thank you.